Hello, hello, and welcome back to the channel for another episode of Voices of the Embodied Leader. I'm really excited to share conversation with Brooke today. Brooke is a breathwork and somatic facilitator, and she also has a great way of helping people recognize, move through the freeze response. And so that's a place I've been in my life. I know it's a place you've been, and I'm hoping we can talk about that today. But first and foremost, welcome, Brooke. Thank you so much for being
Oh,
here.
thank you, Sheina. I am so excited to have this conversation today. You know me, I love this stuff. So anytime I get to talk about breathwork, somatics, all of those things with somebody that is also trained and certified, I literally just it makes me giddy. I feel like a little kid right now.
Awesome, sweet. I love that we get to meet here and we get to play in the field together.
Me
Let
too.
let's dive right in and really, Brooke, I know that the one of the main things that we already talked about was like we're both into having this organic, whatever comes up in the moment vibe. And so let's literally start in this exact moment. I would love to hear about where you are, what you've got going on, and maybe where you just came from.
Yeah, I think it was we were just talking about this right before we hit record, and I think it's a great place to start because it just shows the growth over time for me because I definitely feel like I'm in this period of extreme growth and I'm starting to actually notice how different I am now than maybe I would have been 6 months ago or a year ago. And so I was really talking about this morning how we had this chat plan and I have it in my calendar because I've gotten really good about putting things in my calendar because if I don't, I will forget. And it popped up, and I happened to have some other things going on this morning where I had to rearrange some stuff. And I was out with my mom, and I had the choice. I had the choice to either message you and be like, Sheena, I'm so sorry. Like, I need to reschedule. Like, I'm out. Or I had the choice to show up. And just the fact that I chose to show up instead of being just putting it off and being like, it's not that important. I can do it later.
Mhm,
Sheena's going to be around.
mhm.
She's not going anywhere. Letting those thoughts creep into my head and letting them run the show. I would have done that in the past. I would have been like, oh, I'll just message her and I'll just reschedule it. It's fine. It's no big deal. But I thought to myself, Brooke, what kind of person do you want to be in this moment? Do you want to be the person that shows up for this, what she's passionate about and the vision that you have for the future? Or do you want to be the person that goes shopping for instant gratitude right now?
Mm,
What do you want? Who do
mm.
you want to be? And it was just like, I'm obviously choosing to show up. It was like, no, it was a no brainer for me this time to be like, no, I need to tell my mom that I need to go home and that I need to be ready for this. And that's a huge growth moment for me because, like I said a year ago, would have chose the shoes. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I love that. I love the piece of, am I gonna choose to kind of continue to step into who I'm becoming, or am I just gonna let who I am and who I was run the show right now? And first of all, fuck yeah, girlfriend, you're here. You did it. You did it. Yeah. And I've been in those exact same places. I even shared with you today. I woke up and I'm like, there's a million things that past me would have been like, I can't today. I can't
Hmm.
today, I can't. And instead, I stepped out, I took a breath, I moved my body. I allowed myself to just like slowly drink my tea before I looked at my phone. And I
Oh,
did the same thing. I was like, no, babe, you're showing up in this new version of yourself. And I already did one interview today, got off that call, and I was like, fuck, I feel alive now. Like all that other stuff, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. But year ago me, definitely 2 year ago me would have been, she wouldn't have even got this far. I think where I'm on interview like 10 with you, wouldn't have even got this far.
yeah, for sure. And it also goes to just show our nervous system patterning and how much it has changed since working at a somatic level and a body based level. Because what you talked about right there is somatics in itself. You said, I woke up this morning and I felt like shit, basically, and I didn't really want to do it. And I took a moment to pause. I took a moment to ground myself into the present moment. I took a moment to feel into how I'm actually feeling and honor that feeling because it's not going to go away. You can try to stuff it down, but it's still there. And so you walked yourself through your own somatic process of getting grounded, getting present, being honest and real with where you're feeling, and choosing to show up in the way that you wanted to show up. And that's what somatics does for you. It gives you the choice to show up differently than you would have showed up in the past. But you
Absolutely.
have to be aware, right? Like you have to have the conscious awareness that like that's what's happening. And that's what a lot of us don't realize is happening. A lot of us are just falling back into the pattern.
Autopilot, right?
Autopilot.
We've been piloting
100%.
this whole time. This is a great place
Yeah.
for us to sink in because I've been doing this work for a really long time. And what I mean by this work is supporting people in their becoming. Long before
Mm.
I really understood what somatics was, I was doing it already in different capacities, but really learning the mechanisms, the foundations, the science and reasons that somatics work was what took me to that next level of actually being able to integrate the medicine and become a different version of myself. And it's been beautiful to see clients and people in my community, but at the end of the day, the way that it has shifted and changed me from the inside out is what's truly remarkable and something that I celebrate every single day. So I would love if you can talk more about the nervous system and how you have repatterned and some of the more difficult places and even that freeze area where I've been there too. And it gets misunderstood. People don't quite understand what's happening. And I would love to hear you speak on that.
Yeah. Yeah. This is gonna be a mouthful, okay? I hope everybody's
Yeah.
ready. Buckle up, get strapped in. We're gonna get going. Yeah, let's see. It was probably November of last year. I started noticing that I was starting to sink into a freeze pattern, a deep freeze response. I just started noticing the subtle signs of like depression, basically. Like I didn't want to do anything. I didn't have the energy. I was in a job that it was draining for me. It was not serving me in any way. And I was having to go there a lot. And so that was taking its toll on me. And then we had the holidays on top of all of that. So it's also like planning the holidays and expectations around holidays and how you're supposed to feel, and that it's supposed to be all like fun and cheery and all of these things. And I'm like, I don't feel that way.
Yep.
I actually don't want to see any of you right now. I want to go do nothing at home and I want to hide and I don't want to talk about my feelings. And I just started noticing that I was following all of those nervous system patterning of the freeze where it was like my system got so overwhelmed with all of the stress that I was carrying that I basically couldn't handle it anymore. And when this happens, when it gets overloaded with stress, it will shut down because it's the safest thing to do to conserve your energy to actually just get through the day. I needed to get through the day. I needed to get through every day because I was hating every day. And I was like, I just need to get through it so I can sleep. And maybe tomorrow I might feel a little better. Maybe I won't feel as exhausted. And it wasn't working. I got to a point after we moved in January, my boyfriend and I moved. So, right, depression, holidays, still fucking depressed, New Year's, still fucking depressed, moving, which is huge. I don't know if you guys has ever moved, but that's a stressor on top of everything else that I was already feeling. And so my nervous system was like, okay, Brooke, we've had enough. We can't handle the amount of stress anymore. And so we're just going to shut down, which means we're going to stop feeling sad. We're going to stop feeling angry. We're going to stop. I'm going to get emotional. We're going to stop feeling happy. We're going to stop feeling because we can't anymore. We can't do it anymore. And when you're in that place, you feel so alone
Mm.
because you're like, I just don't think anybody would understand what I'm going through right now. And how am I supposed to tell my family that I'm unhappy and that I don't know what to do? And it's a lot.
Yes. Sit for a sec. Yeah. Just let yourself.
Mm,
Mm.
yeah. And I get emotional because I know what it's like to be in that space. And as you can see, I can feel the full spectrum of emotion, which is just another sign that like my nervous system is working properly because now I can experience those emotions that I wasn't experiencing when I was in the freeze state. The
Mm.
sadness and the grief and the like, just like I feel for anybody who is going through that because I understand what it's like to be in that place.
Yeah, it's a devastating place to live in and work through, and I depression has been a big part of my journey. And I'm honest in that it's not like I've eradicated depression. I've been on different meds. I'm not on any meds now. And what I do is I try really hard during those episodes to really lean deeply in and see what it is that I need and where I'm pushing, because oftentimes that like pushing is what's keeping me locked into this pattern of dissatisfaction. You hit the nail on the head, which I think a lot of people don't understand. And I want to hear you speak a little bit more on this, which is this freeze response, right? We have our nervous system, it has all of these different responses, and the freeze response comes after we have been so activated for so long, meaning that we have been in fight or flight or even fawning for such a long time. And the system is okay, we cannot do this anymore. Not only are you not allowed to feel, but you cannot be in this stage of survival mode anymore. And so now we're shutting you down. Now you just have to stay still. This is the best way for you to be safe, is to just stay still. And yeah, I've definitely been there. And I think people don't recognize that it's after a could be years, could be literal years of fight and flight going.
Absolutely.
And then there's this, and I wanna let you speak on this, but I wanna hear, like, that kind of from hyper aroused into a freeze, and then the thawing process, which kinda takes you back through it all again before you come down into it. Right?
Yeah, right exactly what you said. So if you think of it like this, let's have you ever been on a roller coaster?
Mm,
You know how you have that slow, like, tick and you're like going up? I would say that's like your nervous system. Let's say your nervous system is activated and it's going up and you're feeling some stress. Maybe you're feeling some anxiety, right? And you're up and you're starting to really start to come up and up. And then you get to this point where you're like at that top and the roller coaster pauses, right? Your nervous system does the same thing. It's okay. I've had all of this activation and now I've reached my tipping point. I can't do it anymore. So we're going to shut down. We're going to stop. And in those moments, it actually can feel really good
mm,
because if you've ever experienced mental anxiety or worry or pressure or just feeling unhappy, dissatisfied for so long, like you're just not going to be able to feel that way anymore. And so your body's, I'm just going to shut down so that you don't actually have to feel any of those emotions that are currently causing you stress.
mhm, yep,
And so it's like you could be still anxious and be in a free state. So your thoughts are going
yep,
all the time because you're not dealing with your emotions. So your mind is trying to process all of the stuff that is stored in your body, but your mind doesn't process emotions. It only tells the story. And so not only are you're like in this place where you're like, you've numbed yourself out, you can't feel anything, but you're not okay. You're mentally not okay now.
yeah, yep,
Not only are you not physically, you're not okay because you're exhausted all the time and you feel exhausted and your body feels really heavy and it feels down and it feels all of the things because you have all the trapped emotions in your body. Now your mind is also on overdrive and it's mentally having to work through everything, which the mind doesn't process emotions. So it's actually not doing anything, but just creating more stress because it's creating the mental anxiety. So you're in a free state and you're having mental anxiety and you're constantly thinking about everything going wrong. And you're like, what the fuck? I don't know what to do. I thought I would feel better in this state. And then you get to a point where you're like, I can't live like this anymore. That's basically what happened to me. I reached a point where I was in the free state and I looked around and I was like, I cannot continue to live like this. I can't continue to live this way. What needs to change? And I got curious. I started to get curious as to why I had gotten into a free state in the first place.
yep,
What actually sent my body there? What was it experiencing now that I needed to get rid of or change or tweak? What did I need to do? What did I need to move? What did I need to feel? And so I started getting back into my somatic practices
yeah.
because I wasn't doing any of those either.
You're in a freeze
You
response
can't.
depression, you
It's
literally
hard.
you're lucky
It's
you
really,
get out of bed.
yeah. And I was functional freeze, by the way. So I was actually like going to work and surviving like I was fine. which
Yeah.
is a very real thing in this state because you can actually just, I got really good at just hiding the way that I was actually feeling around everybody else because that was my best way of coping was to just push through it.
I like to think of functional freeze as almost just like this zombie existence where it's like, yep, I'm moving through the motions. I'm getting done what needs to get done. I'm paying my bills. I'm eating when I can. And
But I'm not enjoying it.
yeah, nothing is. And then another piece of that when you're living in that, like I said, this functional freeze zombie state is like the end of the day is exhausting.
Exhausted.
You're done. And
You're
yet
literally exhausted.
we can barely sleep, so it's like this fucking cycle, and it's gross. So let's talk about you said I got back to my somatic practices, and yet this has been a thread in all of these conversations, which is we need our own personal practices. They need to be something that we are committed to and devotional to, and it's okay if we have times when they're not. However, this is how the medicine works. And that sometimes there's once you realize and you're like, "Oh shit, I haven't been doing my practice," or it's you gotta also work your way back into it. You can't be like, "All right, sweet, I'm just gonna dive right back in and everything's gonna be perfect." There's again this softening, this melting that needs to take place. And I would love to hear your experience on what that portion has been like for you that's led you to where you are now.
Yeah, I think in the beginning, when I first obviously noticed I was like in this deep freeze state, and I had been for a couple of months, and I was finally like made the decision that like I needed to rearrange my life and I needed to do things differently than I was currently doing. I think at first it's just slow. All I can say is the freeze pattern is slow. It's slow. I don't know how else to say it. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. And it's not something that's meant to happen overnight. Just imagine that you're in that state and you've reached this height where you can't take it anymore. But all of those feelings and stuff that you were feeling before are just right here. They're literally like as soon as you start coming down, all of those things that you're feeling, you come back in contact with them almost immediately because you go from fight and flight, anxiety, whatever you're feeling, stressed out, worried, sad, angry. I don't care what it is. Something got you to this point. All of those feelings are just underneath the surface. So
Yeah.
it's like you had this layer of ice and you've numbed yourself enough to where it feels okay to live every single day. And then when you make the decision to come out and start to actually like re engage with those things, it actually can feel super overwhelming.
Mhm.
And so you wouldn't want to like go from like completely frozen to completely thawed out in a day because you would have so many emotions that you would just cause yourself to almost go back into a free state because it's too much for your system to handle all at once. So I think taking it slow is like really key here. And the things that I really started doing every day that started actually helping me get out of my free state were three things: breath, reconnecting with my breath. The second thing is sound. So reconnecting with my voice. And the third thing was movement. These are the big three.
Mhm.
And these are the thing that I think really is the solid foundation for any somatic work and practice is breath, sound, and movement. And when you combine these three things, which we already know about nervous system with the tools that I already knew, I was able to actually create a practice that allowed me to feel really safe, like feeling the uncomfortable shit that was beneath the surface.
Mhm.
All of the things that I had been avoiding feeling, I needed to feel and I needed to sit with, and I needed to get curious about what boundaries I needed to put up, what I needed to let go of, and how I could move in the direction that was actually going to feel better for me. So, three things, right? And so, those are the big three things that like actually helped me reconnect with my body in a way that was a lot gentler than just going like, from a freeze to 100, because that's literally what it can feel like. And it can be super overwhelming if you don't know these tools or you don't have the somatic support. I also had, by the way, somatic therapy. I was doing it the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
I had a somatic therapist. Like I had somebody that I had hired that was also a Semastry alumni to help me through this. I didn't do it alone. So don't get me wrong. Like you need support in this. And that was one of the first things I knew is that I needed support. And it was
Mm.
like an immediate thing because sometimes even then, we don't have the capacity to see what we need to go in and feel. And sometimes when we have somebody that's holding space for us, it actually allows us to go deeper into those, maybe some of the bigger emotions that we've been holding that feel really scary to dive into, or things that we know we need to change, but we're scared to do it, like all of the things that may come up as we're going through the deep thawing process. And so for me, I knew I wanted to start showing up in my business again. I knew that I wanted to start showing up with Soul Mastery in the somatic piece of it, and teaching and being in community again. And so I was like, I need to change something.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I mean, some people will call that, like, rock bottom. It's like, if you're way up here, but it's somehow just, like, the absolute depths of the depths, and one of the things that you said was these feelings are once you start feeling again, they are big and they are loud, and it takes time to let yourself feel all of the things as you thaw and come out of ignoring, or I don't even want to say ignoring. It's not that you're ignoring, it's like your body was keeping you safe and it was like, this is not safe anymore. And that does take time. And I think we live in a world where, listen, we want like instant gratification. Like you said, I'll take the shoes, right? We want things. It's like, no, cognitively, okay, like, you knew, I'm in a freeze response, I know I need to feel my feelings, yet still, it's not something you can just make happen. This comes
I
with
didn't feel safe.
it's it comes with the support that you're mentioning, right? Like, it comes with these pieces to be able to feel what you need to feel, to come back around so that you can start showing up in life again. I'm wondering if we can speak on a little bit about, and I think that this is a part of your journey, and if it's not, just let me know, but it's definitely been a part of mine, and I feel like this might be something that we share where it's like we have this big vision, like
Mm.
big, juicy, beautiful vision, and we want it. Oh, we long for it. It's yes, I can see it. I can feel, like, I know in my bones this is what's supposed to happen. And I know for me, it's like I'm, like, reaching for that big vision. I'm, like, going for the big vision, and in the
For
past,
sure.
I have leapt for that big vision and almost just not feeling the in between stuff from when you're in a freeze. It's like you leap there, you start doing the thing. Guess what? So many times that leap for desire of the big vision as actually what caused me to go into a freeze response is I was like, "Oh shit." And then you go through, oh, shame and guilt and I'm not good enough and I'm not ready, where the truth is I just needed to start at step 1 and I was still gonna get there. I'm still gonna get there.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like that's something that you can relate to, and I would love to hear that your take on that.
Yeah. I have been going through a launch. I have been launching for the past 2 months. And I will say this, I have learned a lot from this launch specifically. And I think it's because I'm doing it in a more conscious way. And I'm also reconnecting with my body and my intuition in a way that I never have before. And so for me, it has taught me a lot. And so as I'm going through this launch, I have had several things come up where I'm like, do I need to place boundaries? For example, I was talking to a lady that was interested in potentially coming inside of my mastermind that I'm going to be hosting in June. And her and I were just having a chat, and she said something about how she would actually love to do like a swap sessions to get to know each other before copying in.
Mhm.
This is somebody I've never talked to before. I know her from the Soul Mastery group. So I know her, right? We've had interactions. She knows who I am since I've been a mentor in the group, but we have never had like a private one on one, let me get to know you type of situation. And my first initial reaction was absolutely, I'm going to swap sessions with her. And then I went to my coach that I hired to help me with my launch. And she said, but Brooke, like, you're not in the point in your business where you're doing that anymore. You're at the point in your business where you don't need to be practicing. You've had a lot of practice. You need to get paid for your work. And at first I was like, "No, like, I'm good. I'll just do the session swap. It's fine. Like, I'll just do it." And I had originally told her yes. And then I sat with what my coach said, and I thought, "Brooke, what is actually an integrity with your long-term vision of having a successful and thriving somatic business and healing business?" And the fact is that it's to get paid for my work and my time and the energy that I spend while I'm inside of these containers. Because I have done a lot of work. I have taken the Soul Mastery course 4 times, and I know what I'm talking about because I've done a lot of sessions,
Mhm,
and I do a lot of sessions on myself. And
mhm,
so I'm embodied. I'm very embodied in the work. And so for me to it would actually be a dishonor to where I was at to do the free swap session. Like it just wouldn't be in alignment with where I'm currently at. And I had to go back and I had to have an open and honest conversation about where I was.
mhm,
And that was, like, not actually how I support people anymore.
mhm.
That's just not a way that I actually want to do that. And so it's taught me so much. And though it was not comfortable, like I said, I was triggered when she told me that. I was like, the fuck? No, I'm definitely doing it. I actually even messaged her back and was like, no, I already told her I'm going to do it. It feels really good for me to do it. And then I thought about it. When I thought about where I'm going and what I'm actually doing, I was like, Brooke, no, that's not in integrity with where you are at. And that's doing yourself a disservice for the level of expertise that you have and the wisdom that you have. You need to start being the woman who believes that she deserves that. So I had to have a conversation with her. And it's those things that we go through as spiritual entrepreneurs and business owners that are uncomfortable, that make us think and that trigger us. And then we like have to pause and look and like actually ask ourselves the difficult conversation, the difficult questions to see if we need to set boundaries and stuff like that. That's going to come up.
Yeah.
And so if you can't regulate yourself in those moments, you don't have a process to be able to actually get curious and to regulate and bring the curiosity in, then you're just going to repeat the same pattern, which would have been I would have done the pre session and then she probably wouldn't have come into the mastermind because I gave away my value for free and she doesn't see it as valuable. I'm
Yes.
looking for people who see it as valuable,
Yeah.
who are willing to pay because they understand the value of what it means to be supported in a space with expertise, with where there's so much expertise and wisdom that they want to actually pay to be in that space.
For you, Brooke. Like, I wanna just take a minute and honor that because I have been there and I've had to have that conversation. I have said yes. I have sat back and realized, "Wait a minute. This goes against every intention I just set last week. What am I doing?" Now I have to have this difficult conversation, which is such a badge of honor for leadership, is to have those difficult conversations, to stand in your integrity, and to be like, "With so much love, no." With so much
Yeah, so
uh,
much love. No.
yeah,
Mm,
with so much love, no. Like, and you don't
mm.
necessarily have to say that to the person, but I know that's how I remind my like, I know that this no is rooted in deep love, not only for myself, which fuck yeah, but also for that, like with deep
Yeah,
love, no, I'm not going to devalue what I hold so fucking dear. So like, good for you. And anybody who's out there who's watching, who like shies away from difficult conversations, like I'm a Libra
I
moon.
get it.
Like, I do not like, it took me so long to be able to actually have a difficult conversation, which is essentially just being honest about what you need and how that person can meet you after they maybe haven't been meeting you there for quite some time.
Mm,
It's like a big part of the work to be able to lead, and it doesn't mean that if it's difficult for you that you're not a leader. It just means, like, you need to step into that discomfort a little bit to start embodying more and more integrity and leadership in the way that you actually envision it. So, I've so been there,
mm.
girlfriend, and I just honor that for you, and I'm so proud of you because, yeah, it's a big step to just, "Wait a minute. Not only am I gonna say no, but I'm gonna have to go back and say no after I said yes." That's a tough one. Um,
Yeah, and I think like you said, it's just honoring yourself in a way and loving yourself in that way. It's so beautiful. And now the great thing is also once you do it for yourself and you start to get more comfortable with those, then it's like now I can also hold somebody else in that standard when they come to me and they say, "Hey, listen, like this is happening to me and I'm not feeling in integrity." I can walk them through the process of what it looks like to actually regulate their nervous system before they go and have these kinds of conversations so that they don't bring any of the shit they're feeling into it because
yeah,
you're going to feel it. It's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel scary. You're maybe not going to want to do it, but when you run a business and or if you just want impeccable relationships, because this shit
yes.
can happen with your friends and family where you need to have a conversation, you need to be able to speak up and do that. And you're not going to be able to do that from a dysregulated space. You're just not,
Absolutely. The communication gets scrambled.
for
Just
sure.
yeah, I really like that point, and I appreciate that you added that is yeah, there is this work of regulating before and even just it's just regulation isn't always attainable. Sometimes just being super aware that this is going to knock you out of balance and then like some self-love afterwards. I fucking did it, girlfriend. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, you feel good. You feel good after you do it. I know I did after I actually told her like what was in integrity for me and the ways that I could support her that were in integrity for me. I literally just felt like a weight lift off of me because it was like, oh, that was the right thing. It
Mm.
was like, yeah, that's it. This is the way that we move now. This is the way that we handle these situations. And it just lands.
And this actually, in terms of me like building up that pile that gets us to breeze, this is an example of one of those small things that happens in life that we agree to that's a little bit out it's misaligned, it's out of integrity that ends up being that weight that squashes us when get too much. That ends up being one of the things that like if I had just if I just honored myself and I had done what I
Mm.
really knew to be true and in alignment with where I am, then that weight wouldn't have even been there. It wouldn't have even contributed. And enough times, you do that enough times that there's less and less weight. Like, there's less and less weight, and things feel
Well, you get good at it.
oh, exactly. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
You get good at it. You come to a point where it's second nature to be able to take that pause and to regulate, even like what you were talking about, like doing this morning. That's essentially what I'm talking about doing in this situation as well, is taking that pause and taking the time to actually like go give yourself the self love that you need. Or if you can't do that in the moment and you just need to have that difficult conversation, like maybe you even just take a couple of deep breaths and center yourself before you have the conversation and you think to yourself, how do I want what do I want to come across? What's my intention? Like even just setting a quick intention of I want to enter this conversation with love and I want that to be felt through me, even if I don't know how that's going to look right now. But I need to go have this conversation. Like I'm going to go have this conversation. And that's true. You will find the right words in the moment because it's just your intuition is going to be guiding you through that because you've set the intention to come across as love. And so I think that's huge too.
Absolutely, absolutely, and actually one of the things I think you said it like 3 times just in there, and it's a piece that is so important for me, like, I do not live a day without intention. Energetic intention, and it doesn't mean that every day goes exactly the way that I intended, but what it means is that I took the moment to set myself up to be honest about how I would like to see this day, this situation, this conversation, this season
Mm,
unfold, and it's like that
mm.
stamp of this is my intention and this is where I'm starting, and even if, like you said, it could just be like a breath and I wanna have this conversation and have love be felt through me. Like, it's as simple as that, and I think
Yeah.
so important, so overlooked.
Just it's such a simple and easy practice that I think people forget that how powerful it is because
It's
it doesn't take long. You don't need anything fancy. Like I know I'm into the woo stuff. I know you're into the woo stuff. I think it's great to burn sage and Palo Santo and have your crystals and to have all of those fun things. I think that's amazing and that it can amplify what you're it could help you deepen into the process of actually like setting that intention. But are they necessary? Absolutely not. All that's really necessary is you and in your heart and feeling into what's true for you. It's setting that intention, just being super conscious and aware and intentional with your setting, with your moment, with taking that moment. And so you don't need anything but you. And so you can do this absolutely anywhere. It doesn't matter if you're in the car, you're in the shower, you're brushing your teeth, you're sitting here drinking your tea, whatever it is, you can find a moment to set the intention. And you're just telling the universe, this is what I'm choosing today. You're basically saying, I'm choosing this. And you're claiming that. And it can be such a powerful practice. And so I love that you like brought that up. That's been so powerful for you as well.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
devotional thing at this point for me. It's like
Mm,
I'm devoted to my life, to my vision, to my family, to this land, to these projects.
mm,
So if I am devoted to this, then it makes sense that before I step into any of those places, that I'm going to set an intention about what it is
mm,
that I choose for it. With that willingness to be met, because we're co-creating with the universe, right? So this is me, this is my
for
intention,
sure.
how I am going to choose to show up, trusting that I'm going to be met. Yeah, it's
Mm,
become a devotional practice for me, intention, and like you said, it can be so fucking simple. It can take just a moment of time and really help to ground and provide what it is you need to just keep going to take the next step.
yeah, yeah, I totally agree. I love that, and I love just being, like what you said there about bringing you into the moment, into the present moment, because a lot of us like to live in the past where we're constantly thinking about what happened in the past that we didn't like, or we're constantly thinking about the future and we're stuck there and we're daydreaming about it and we're just stuck in like future, or we're worrying about the future. We could be totally worrying about the future as well. And we're stuck in between either like thinking about all the shit that went wrong in the past or worrying about shit that's going to go wrong in the future. We forget about this little place that's like in the middle. That's what about this moment right here? Am I safe? Am I being supported in the ways that I need to be? Do I feel love? Like, how am I feeling? And what can I do in this moment right now? Right now, what can I do right now that's going to help me feel better if I need to feel better, or give me energy if I need to feel energized, or if I need to create momentum in my business? What can I do now?
Mhm.
In intention will bring you into the now.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Intention setting, y'all. If you're not doing it, if you're out there, you're listening, you're watching to us, if it's something that you're not doing and you're wondering like, oh, okay, what is one simple thing that I can start doing? Set the intention. The intention right now today is I'm going to set the intention to continue down this path of self-discovery, of learning and of embodiment.
Mm,
It really can be.
mm.
Well, Brooke, I'm wondering if you could share with everybody, and I've said this in previous episodes, it's like we don't just show up one day as like the perfect leader who's like ready to lead. And I'm a firm believer that you don't have to be fully healed to be a leader. What I truly believe is that like you just have to be honest with the moment and show up and lead in the capacity that you can and trust that's enough and that the right people are going to show up and we.
Mm.
And so I'm wondering if you can share with us just some truths along the way that you have had to embody or you've had to accept to do that, to show up radically honest, to lead in the moment.
I think transparency was huge for me. Just being super honest with myself first of where I was at,
Yeah.
and then being honest with everybody else about where I was at. Because then you don't have to lie or feel like you have to perform or fake it. I don't want to fake shit. I'm not here for that. I'm
Yep.
here to just, I want to show up as me.
Yep.
I want to show up as me who likes to cuss and like meditate and be weird and silly and fun and sarcastic. And I'm in your face. I will tell you, I'm not afraid to speak my opinion about something and my truth. And so I think just being able to show up in that way and also being super honest where I was at with my process. And that's what I found to be the best thing for me, because while I was launching, I felt a lot of resistance and disconnection to the actual launch when I started. And I was like, why? Why do I feel so disconnected to this thing that I know that I want? Why? And so I got curious about the why. And was it something about the launch that I didn't like? Was it the content that I was posting? Was it the way that I was going about it? Was it that I was not being intentional enough? Was there some things that I needed to tweak? What was it? What was it? I needed to know, because I can't change it if I don't know what I don't like about it. I knew there was something that I didn't like about it because I was feeling disconnected and I wasn't feeling lit up.
Mhm.
Wasn't feeling that buzz. I didn't want to get online, and when you're in the flow and you want to show up and you're just creating because it feels fun and you're not having to think about it. I felt like I was having to think of overthinking it and like doing all of these things. And I was like, why? Why are you doing that? Are you doing it because somebody else told you to do it? Or because you took a course and it told you how to do it? And a little bit of that. There was a little bit of, I'm giving my power away here to what I've learned to some other people that have had success with other methods. And I'm trying to copy that method and it's not working because it's not me.
Mm.
Part of it was that.
Yep.
Part of it was that I was trying to copy and be perfect. And then I needed to let go of the perfectionism a little bit, and a little bit of needed to start listening to myself more than I was like giving away my power. And so I started to do that. I started to actually practice checking in with myself on what felt good. What felt good? What do you want to create? What would be fun? What do you actually want to create? What actually wants to come through versus what I thought wanted to come through? Because I had a plan, right? You devise a plan. I had a nice little plan going. I knew exactly what it was. I had all the shit like worked out, mapped out, and I was doing it. I was getting progress. There was people like commenting and messaging, and I was getting all of the things, but I didn't feel connected still, and I didn't understand. And it was just a little bit of, Brooke, you need to start listening to yourself more. You need to start actually like coming from your heart and doing those things that we talked about, being very devotional and with your intention and feeling into the container and feeling into who you wanted to be, how you wanted to support them, how do you want to show up, how can you serve them better, but how can you serve them better? I was being asked to improve. I was being asked to learn. I was being asked to grow. I was being asked to show up in a different way. I was being asked to trust my heart. I was being asked to trust my intuition. And all of these things at once can
Mhm.
feel like a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it was also a practice of regulating all the fucking time because I was having these doubts and these fears and these thoughts. And it's every day was practice
Mm.
of coming back home and coming back to the truth. And every day I still have to do that. I still have to wake up every day and remind myself why I'm doing what I'm doing. I have
Yep.
to remind myself of the gratitude and the love and the appreciation I know I'm going to feel. And I have to bring that into the present moment
Yep. Yep.
every single day. It's a devotion to feeling that.
Yeah. I
And
love
it's a constant process. This is not something that I ever think is going to go away. And that's what I'm learning is
Yeah.
that this isn't just a quick fix. This is a lifestyle change.
Yeah. It's a muscle like any other muscle that takes time to build up. And
Absolutely.
we one of the things you just said that I love, and it's just it's a core component of embodiment, it's a core component of manifestation, it's a core component and pillar of actually being able to like access new, more fulfilling versions of ourselves, which is like knowing that feeling that are chasing, basically, and pull it into the moment right now. Can that feeling of like satisfaction, of joy, of whatever it is, and I want to say that like whatever it is okay. Like one
Yeah.
that I had to get over before I could even pull that feeling in was like I want to be seen. Hello,
Mm,
I want to be seen. I want people to hear me. I want people to look at me and be like, "Wow, that chick is."
yeah.
Like, I don't even care if they
Mm,
know my name or that I have a community or what offers I have. I want them to be like, "Man, I just saw this chick on YouTube. She was gorgeous and she said this thing and it hit me like, I want that." And it took me time to be
yeah.
super vulnerable and super honest so that I could pull that feeling in without even hitting record, without even opening my phone, without even recording.
Mm,
What does it feel like to have that feeling that I want, that I'm like, aiming for or chasing? Like,
mhm.
if we're not inviting it into the present moment, we're fucking chasing it. And that means it's over there and it's not attainable and we can't catch up to it. So
Yeah.
like what can I do to bring
It's like
that?
a carrot.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
dangling in front of
Yeah. And
trying to get
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that
100%.
and like I said, like that's how you manifest. That's how you become
Yes, I agree.
like that. It's like in practice, like I've seen shit happen. Even in my own life, when you can have that feeling right now before it even gets here, whew, like it doesn't take long to then actually get to the point where, oh my gosh, it's happening without me having to sit and call it in. It's just here. It's just here.
Yeah, you don't have to force it. It's flowing. At first, you have to cultivate the relationship. So I think you talked to, like you just said it. It is just like going to the gym, building a muscle. This is the same thing. You're not going to have a relationship with your intuition and you're not going to trust yourself if you're not actually one, listening and two, taking the action steps that it's telling you to do.
Right.
And three, of course, like pulling those feelings into the now, which I think are all steps of manifestation, right? Like if
Absolutely.
you're a law of attraction or manifestation queen out there, like you should know that embodying the feelings that you want to have is like a core component to that work. And so I think that just goes to show that everybody needs nervous system regulation because if you can't be present in the moment, you can't actually create presence because you're either disconnected, you're in that depressive state, or you're hyper aroused and you're just trying to survive, or you're in the freeze. Like any of those states, you're not in the present moment in those states.
Yep.
You want to be in the present moment. And then once you can be in the present moment and actually create the safety
Yep.
in your body, then you can create the safety to feel those desired emotions that you're looking for, no matter what they are, whether it's wanting to be seen. You just want to feel happy every day. You want to feel fun, have some fun or silly or weird or playful, or you want to experience pleasure. Like, what is it? And a
Mm.
lot of people just simply don't know because they've never asked,
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like we
taken the
just like
time.
we opened a gate here because, and I think it's becoming more and more known, but I think that in the coaching world and in the healing world, that was like a gated secret. That was like that. I'll tell you that part when you pay me $20,000. And it's like there's no gatekeeping here anymore. And I think the collective, the world, the way that humanity works is changing where it's like, I will give you all the information. Girl, you need to feel what you want to feel. You need to practice feeling it now. You need to feel safe feeling it now. You need to cultivate those feelings now. And I truly think that like the leaders that are emerging are the ones that are like, okay, now I'll hold that space for you to do that. I'm not going to teach you. You already
That's
know.
it.
Now I'll hold this space so that you can do it, so that you can practice feeling safe, that you can do what it takes to cultivate these feelings, and sometimes it's weird. Sometimes it's, "Oh, sorry. I'm just like, I
Yeah,
gotta break it out." And if you've never done that, or you've never had anyone say, "Oh, no, just keep going," you're never gonna do it.
I agree.
"I'm gonna get my wing to pop out. I'm an angel." Like, you have to fucking get weird sometimes. Exactly.
I agree.
Yeah.
100%. What you said is spot on. And this is exactly what I am doing, want to create inside of my containers is all of the people that I want to work with already have nervous system regulation basics down.
Yeah. Yeah.
They understand already what it means
Correct.
when I talk about fight, flight, and freeze. They understand what it means when I say regulation. They understand what it means to titrate and all of the things that come along with that. Now we've done a basic understanding here. I think a lot of people can grasp what we're talking about, but it's holding the space for you to actually come and practice the things that you know you should be doing so that you can thrive in life
Yeah.
and so that you can create your own version of success, so that you can show up as your most authentic and radiant self, so that you can put up the boundaries that you need to put up and you have a space to go when you freak out.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. We all need that. It's the same for my containers, my communities. That is the basis of it is like we all need these safe places to come in, to express so that we can have a mirror sometimes too and have that space be held for us and then take what it is that we're understanding and integrating into our everyday devotional intentional life. I feel like we have just
Yes.
so many juicy tidbits and this
Ah, so good.
so I just want to say for anyone
Mm.
watching, share this one. There are points in here, there are codes that are woven into this conversation that I truly think are going to be really helpful and inspiring for people that are on this journey of what I call this journey of becoming you, remembering who you are.
Oh my gosh, there really was. There was a lot of good moments in here. I cannot wait to share this and let everybody see this because it's a good one. It's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah. So before we wrap this up, Brooke, I'm wondering if you could leave the viewers with just one final piece of wisdom or even advice for anyone who's made it all the way here and they're like, yeah, I think that I want to go a little bit deeper. I think I want to expand a little bit wider. What is like the one thing that you would leave them with today?
Ooh, I am just gonna take a moment to sit with this. I know y'all don't mind. Everybody knows how this goes. One piece of wisdom that I want to leave you guys with.
Mhm.
I think it's just coming back to yourself every single time. It's really a devotion to yourself, to just taking a moment to pause and to go within and to ask yourself, what's true for you?
Mm,
What's my truth?
mm,
Every single day. And it's such a simple practice that you can do. Just place your hand on your heart, just like we're doing right here. I can already feel it because I've done this a lot. And so the emotion is instant for me of just like gratitude and love is what I feel. You guys get to feel that too. And so just like placing your hand on your heart and just asking yourself what's true for you. What's true for you in this moment? What do you need? Because that truth is going to guide you into places and realms that you didn't even know were possible.
ugh.
and it's gonna be beautiful. And I want that for y'all.
Thank you so much, Brooke. This has been
Mm.
a pleasure. I'm so grateful, and I know I'm feeling so much of that love too. Just
Yeah, I am yes, I could feel it.
for all
Oh,
of
thank
our
you.
thank you, babe. For all of our viewers, I'm getting really good at saying subscribe and like the video. Not in all of them, but I'm doing my best. So yeah, hit that like button, give us a subscribe, and go check out the other interviews. There's going to be weekly drops, and there's beautiful codes and so much in each one of them. I'm going to have links to connect with Brooke inside the description here. You can also join us in the Embodied Leadership Collective. If you have any questions for either one of us, you can also pop them in the comments, and I'll make sure that they get to where they need to go. So thanks again, Brooke. So grateful to have you. Thank you, everyone, for watching.